Heat Nation, this is All You Can Heat with Theo Dorsey, presented by Robinhood, coming off of a big time win over the Los Angeles Clippers, 140 to 123. We're going to break down a little bit of that. Davion Mitchell's career night, though it might not look like that if you just glance at the box score, plus literally a career night of shooting from Bam Adebayo. Captain Bam is no longer just the big man who sets screens and does the dribble handoff. No. Offensive threat, a literal threat from beyond the arc. It is great to see that career night from beyond the arc from him, and then also a season high with triples for the Miami Heat. Also tying a franchise record, 24 made threes, an electric win to improve the Heat to 14-7. We tackle all of that and a little bit more here on All You Can Heat, presented by Robinhood. And as always, you expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money as well. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. All right, let's start with this. All right, the Heat sweep the LA Clippers in the season series, 2-zip. Won't have to see them again. And to be honest with you, as nice as it is to see the Heat pick up an easy win like that, you don't really want to have too many teams like this on your schedule. Non-competitive basketball game. The Clippers had a couple of runs here and there, but the Heat, the barrage of three-pointers, as well as really that second quarter, really took over this game, and it wasn't much of a basketball game after that. Bam and Andrew Wiggins carried the load in the first half. You had a Norman Powell second half to close it out. He had 30 points. 30 points on the night for Norm. And before we go any further, how good must it feel for Norman Powell to know that you probably at some point last year were angling to stay in LA, to stay with that Clippers organization, to have them commit to you long term after what you did for that basketball team in that jersey, after how I'm sure it was living in LA. Not a bad place to be, but you know what? Another place that is lovely to live in is South Florida, Miami. Norman Powell enjoying his stay out near South Beach, and most importantly, he's enjoying all of the winning that comes with it. He has to feel just absolutely relieved, though, looking across that court. And you can see still butts with a couple of the Clippers guys. No hard feelings on the other side. It wasn't like the typical revenge game where it seems like he feels spited by the organization, but he definitively has to feel like he's in a better overall situation now that he is a part of Heat Nation, now that he has a chance now to play his way into, like I've been saying since he's gotten here, the Heat trading for him, best case scenario was not for them to move him again ahead of the deadline, like I kept hearing after the trade happened. Best case scenario was for this to be similar to the Jimmy Butler deal, where people underestimate the impact this guy can have, and he becomes even a step better, has a career year for the Miami Heat, coming off a career year for the LA Clippers, and again going into year age number 32. So just big shout to Norman Powell there, doing it once again. Neon Norman, the light is always lit up green for him when it comes to finding his shot. And final stat line for him, 30 points, 12 for 18. 12 for 18 for Norm. Efficient night, 6 for 10 from deep. And he did lead the Heat in three-point makes. This was an incredible shooting night for the Miami Heat. 24 for 46. Again, tying a franchise record for three-pointers made in a single game. Oddly enough, the only person that was really hurting that percentage that got real minutes, Simone Fontecchio. 1 for 6 from deep. Other than that, everybody else was striping it. Tyler Hero, 4 for 6. Davion Mitchell, 4 for 4. He pitched a perfect game aside from a couple of turnovers. We're going to get to that later. Norm Powell, like I said, 6 for 10. Bam Adebayo, career night from deep, 5 for 8. Sorry, Zubac, if you're going to play him like that, he is no longer the Bama vote. I'm not sure if they've updated your scouting report. He's knocking those down. Most importantly, he's shooting them. And then you got Andrew Wiggins, of course, 2 for 3. He had a great two-way night, per usual this year. He's 9 rebounds, 22 points. All 5 starters, scored 16 or more points, all in double digits. 4 of them, 20-plus points. This was just, again, an all-around offensive explosion. The Heat hit 140 points for the 5th time this season. I've been talking to people about this all year long, and glad that it happens a lot of times in the Kaseya Center. This is a fun team to watch. This is not the Heat of last year, of latter year. This is even more, high octane and a faster pace than what it was in the Big Three era with the Miami Heat. Just, lesser known guys doing it. But I think it makes it all the more better when you get all of those things culminating together. But I do want to pivot forward now and talk about Bam Adebayo's career night as well as Davion Mitchell's career night. Let's start with Bam. We've finally gotten here. Like it wasn't a flash in the pan. It wasn't just a quick run. It wasn't him testing things out. Since he started his career with the Miami Heat, the question has been, since he's always had a good free throw shooting percentage, which is something I always like to key in on, especially for bigs who refuse to shoot the rock. You look at the free throw percentage, you look at the consistency there over his career, and you say, hey, he's got a good touch. When will he develop a consistent three-point shot to open up the floor for others, to open up that spacing? And this year it's happened. And it happened kind of overnight. Not necessarily. You saw peaks of it last year as well, but like the propensity, the overall ability. I'm about to go through his box score here for Bam. And if you haven't been paying attention, it's like, I mean, for people that have him in fantasy basketball, it's one of those extra perks that you get with a guy who gives you so much more in the box score. He's shooting it at will. Uh, he already has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games this year where he shot 5 or more three-pointers. He had the game against the Spurs where, again, you're playing against a big that comes off you a bit, gives you space to shoot it. He shot 13 triples. Bam Adebayo. You know what? Drop a comment right now. It's all you can hear with Theo Dorsey. Drop a of your favorite Bam like nickname. That he's a sharpshooter. I remember when Brooke Lopez with the Bucks tried to come out with Splash Mountain. That was cute. I want to get some Bam Adebayo nicknames specific to the new shooting touch that he has and really just the willingness to shoot it. He's at 32% on the season so far. But if you look at his splits in November, he shot at 32%. Excuse me. In October, he shot at 36%. And overall, actually, no, he's 37% on the season. I was looking at his November split. So again, if he can keep it above 34, 35% on the year and just consistently be a threat, a guy that when you look in the scouting report, you have to close out on him, that's going to continue to improve what the offensive threat is overall for the Miami Heat. Because everybody you play can stripe it. Everybody you play is a good defender, sands a couple of guys, and Bam Adebayo should be in the conversation like he is every year for Defensive Player of the Year. So love what you see out of him. And speaking of Defensive Player of the Year, Davion Mitchell, who you can always rely on the defensive end, you can always rely on to get rim pressure, and dish the ball off here. He had a hell of a night. 16 points, 6 for 6 from the field, 4 for 4 from deep, plus 37 when it comes to plus minus, which was the biggest number on the night for the Miami Heat. The worst of the starters, Tyler Hero, plus 12. Davion absolutely balled out. 12 assists as well, 3 rebounds, only 2 turnovers, got 2 steals on the night. But most importantly, the dude pitched a perfect game from the field. He has been everything the Heat have needed out of a point guard and nothing less. It's funny. When all the Ja Morant stuff was popping out and people were talking about how the Heat could be in play for him, the more I thought about it, and this is no shade to Ja, it's just with the level of buy-in you see from Ja, the immaturity, but then beyond that, the on-court play. I mean, Davion's already feeling like he's a better shooter than Ja. He also is a much better defender. He's one of the best defensive guards in the league, Davion is. They don't call him off night for nothing. On top of that, he's a guy that is completely bought in. This is going to sound absolutely ridiculous, but I, I wouldn't want Ja Morant taking away Davion Mitchell minutes. I said it. I might get clipped. I might get clowned at some point. Ja's only been getting older. He's only been getting less fun to deal with for the Memphis Grizzlies organization, for the NBA at whole. And he's been less fun to watch. And most of the time, you're not watching him because he's on the bench, hurt. Like, I like Davion Mitchell. I don't think it was ever a consideration for the Heat to get him unless they got him at a super low price anyways. But more specifically, this is a Heat team that is not in dire need of a trade. They are in need of continuing to mesh together, grow together, build their chemistry, and see what this thing looks like at full throttle, especially as you work Tyler Hero into the rotation. So I just love what they have right now. And I'm glad the Heat aren't as much of an irrational jump at any kind of, bite at any apple type of team. They're patient. And that is what has grown them to be what they're able to be this year. 14-7, 10-2 at home, and a team that is now looking at the next 5 games ahead. You got 2 against the Orlando Magic on the road. If you're able to take both of those or at least split, I mean, you are solidifying yourself as a top 3, top 4 team in the East. And I've been saying that all year long. My 3 things that I am sure of this season: number 1, the Heat will be a top 4 seed in the East. Number 2, Eric Spoelstra, Coach of the Year, signed, sealed, delivered. But also third, the Heat will have 2 All-Stars. Bam Adebayo, he feels like a lock as long as he plays enough games. I know he's only missed 6, but you never know, especially with bigs in this league. And Bam has had a history of missing a game here or there. But you know what? I expect him to play enough to make the All-Star game. If he doesn't, it's gonna, it's kind of a lost season. You're not going much. You're not going very far without Cap. But then also Norman Powell, who was an All-Star snub in the West last year. I expect he's playing All-Star level ball. I mean, Bam's playing All NBA level ball. Norm is on the precipice of that, but I would say more specifically, he's on All-Star right now, the way in which he's playing. And if he plays enough games, I can see both of them making the All-Star game. And who knows what Tyler Hero blossoms into with this team that is playing one of the fastest paces we've seen in the NBA, and also doing it efficiently. So the Heat, just an overall professional win. Not much else to glean from that when you're playing against a Clippers team like that, but you can say that at the very least you got done what you were supposed to get done. Moving forward, it's going to be about the Miami Heat winning games that they should, but then also contending with some of the top teams in the East. Coming off of a disappointing loss against the Pistons, we'll see, again, 2 tests against the Magic. How can they try to defend, get vengeance on that opening night where the Magic got the best of the Heat? That's been it, though, man. We'll check back in later on in the week. Again, this has been All You Can Heat with Theo Dorsey, presented by Robinhood. And per usual, you expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money. Get started today on Robinhood at robinhood.com/your money. Heat Nation, until next time, we'll see how those Heat keep rocking it, and we'll tap back in later this week.